Gluten-Free Statistics. I think when everybody looks on the internet, they come to a number of different statistics from, this website and this document and this journal, but Mike at switchtoglutenfree.com did a really excellent job of pulling a ton of statistics all together. So I'm going to read all the statistics from this web page, then I'll link it on my site back to his site, and he has all of the citation and documentations of where he found these back on his site. So, with no further ado, celiac disease affects 3 million Americans. It affects more Americans than epilepsy, which is 2.8 million, Crohn's, which is 500,000, ulcerative colitis, another 500,000, multiple sclerosis, 333,000, and cystic fibrosis, 30,000. 1 in 133 people have celiac disease. 1 in 22 people with celiac disease have a first-degree relative diagnosed. 1 in 250 in Italy, and 1 in 300 in Ireland. 500,000 new celiac diagnoses are expected to occur in the U.S. by 2012, thanks to efforts to raise public awareness of the disease. That is huge. 500,000 new celiac diagnoses. That's amazing. 1 in 4,700 people are ever diagnosed. 97% of Americans estimated to have celiac are not diagnosed. The average length of time it takes for a symptomatic person to be diagnosed with celiac in the U.S. is 4 years. This type of delay dramatically increases the individual's risk of developing autoimmune disorders, neurological problems, osteoporosis, and even cancer. The average cost of a misdiagnosis, which I found this very interesting, is $5,000 to $12,000 per person per year. Improving the time to diagnosis could save the healthcare system millions of dollars annually, and especially in unnecessary medical care. Well, clearly in unnecessary medical care. 60% of children and 41% of adults diagnosed during a study he's citing were asymptomatic, which is a lot of people. People with celiac disease are 40 to 100 times more at risk for gastrointestinal cancer. About 3 to 8% of people with type 1 diabetes will have a biopsy-confirmed celiac disease, and 5 to 10% of people with Down syndrome will be diagnosed with celiac disease. 12% of people in the U.S. who have Down syndrome also have celiac. 6% of people in the U.S. who have type 1 diabetes also have celiac. And I feel like that number is rising. I hear a lot of people with type 1 diabetes being diagnosed with celiac. Also, there are no signs or symptoms typical for all people with celiac disease. I'll say that one more time. There are no signs or symptoms typical for all people with celiac disease. Signs and symptoms can vary greatly from person to person. Celiac disease has over 300 known symptoms, although some people experience absolutely none. Only 35% of newly diagnosed patients had chronic diarrhea, dispelling the myth that diarrhea must be present for a celiac diagnosis. 30% of the U.S. population is estimated to have the genes necessary for celiac. Celiac can present itself at any age from 6 months of age on. Age of diagnosis is key. If you're diagnosed between the ages of 2 and 4, your chance of getting an additional autoimmune disease is 10.5%. Over the age of 20, getting that diagnosis, your chances of developing an additional autoimmune disease rockets up to 34%. Women are more affected than men. The U.S. Department of Agriculture projects that the gluten-free industry revenues will reach $1.7 billion in this year, 2010. Gluten-free foods are, on average, 242% more expensive than their non-gluten-free counterparts, which is insane. 21% of patients with a positive anti-endomysial antibody test could not receive a biopsy due to the refusal of their physician to perform the procedure or their insurance company to pay for it. Crazy. The smallest amount of gluten which has been shown by a biopsy to cause damage to a celiac is 0.1 gram per day, or 1/48th of a slice of bread. Also, there are currently 0 drugs available to treat celiac disease. I thought that was excellent webpage. Mike, thank you so much. Mike from Switch to Gluten-Free. Thank you for putting all of these statistics together, especially citing everything. That always helps. I hope this was informative. This taught me a lot, and it's nice to have all of these facts in one place. So thank you so much. Check out Mike's website when you get a chance, and thanks so much for watching. As always, it's from How Not to Having Gluten-Free Dining.